Hey everyone, and welcome back to this channel. I hope that you guys are doing well. So the same day as like the last couple of things that I've been doing, but I'm trying to get a few in today. Because tomorrow I probably will be having to go to an appointment out of town. So we'll see how that goes. It depends on the weather, of course. But I hope that you guys are doing well and you guys are safe and you are warm because it is really cold. And I know in a few other places people are getting hit with some snow and some really cold temperatures. So I'm going to get back to what I was talking about, sort of the next step in the 3 C's. So this is the conceal step. And you know the funny thing is when I was typing this out, I thought conceal. And I kept thinking of concealer, like the makeup I used to use all the time to cover up the blemishes on my face and even out your skin tone, and tried doing a lot of that because every other teen and young adult was doing it, because I did this for years. I don't necessarily wear that much anymore because I was having some issues with the makeup. I just didn't like the cakiness of it all, and I haven't found one that I like. So that's a side note, but it reminded me of that, how we use so many things to cover things up because we want to look better, we want to look a certain way, we want to impress people, whatever the reason for it is, right? Well, when she talks about concealing, when in the book she was talking a lot about stuffing her feelings away. So I may have shared this before, but when I see like I said it before, when I visualize where my feelings are tucked away, it's this filing cabinet. It's old metal, rusty filing cabinet with all these papers and different things stuck in there, and they're sticking out of the corners, and it looks like it's going to burst open. And so that's what I was writing, and it's threatening to fly all over the place, right? No matter how many locks or chains or amount of cement I use to conceal those emotions, they still get out and hurt me, and sometimes others. I have made the choice to stuff it all in and pretend I'm able to conceal these emotions. And I'm finally aware that it was a choice that I made many years ago. At the time, I don't think it was a conscious choice. It probably just seemed like the only way to handle it all. Now, at 46 years old, almost 47 next month, that I'm becoming more aware of my choices and how they are affecting me, I have realized that these emotions are seeping out in my dreams. They will come out. They cannot be held back, ignored, or dismissed. She tells us in the book, right? And it's true. The intensity of these emotions during those dreams hurt my head, my heart, and my body, literally. This may sound strange, but there are many mornings after those kinds of emotionally intense dreams that my entire body feels like I've been beaten up. My head will hurt so bad, and I could barely move it. And the depression it fills my heart with is so heavy, it is hard to face the day. There are times that this will go on for days. I know I've shared things about my dreams in the past, but I think because I try to stuff these emotions so far deep inside and I don't talk about them, and when I'm conscious, when I'm awake, when I'm aware of what's going on, and I'm talking to people and things get like to that like sort of emotional part, I can shut down. I'll just stop talking and I'll start thinking of something else. I drift off into the daydream, right? Even if it's for a moment, just to kind of get my bearings again. Well, when I'm sleeping, it's not that easy. My subconscious is taking over, and everything I've stuffed is coming out, and the dreams are interesting because the people in it are always different. Like it's people that I see every day. It's different things, but their actions in my dreams are not necessarily the way they act in real life. But all those insecurities, all those hurts, all the traumas, all the worries, all the stresses, everything come out in the dreams, and someone will act on them, kind of confirming this is real, this is how things are. And sometimes they're so bad that it feels real. Like, it feels like this is really happening right now. There have been times that even while I'm dreaming, because it's so intense, because it's affecting me so bad, that I can change the dream. And I have kind of changed the scenario as it's happening because I didn't like what was going on. And because of my fear of being out of control, I think that's why they seep out in the dreams, because I'm trying to process them. Some part of me is saying, hey, listen to me, listen, you need to fix this, or you need to feel this, I guess. It's not fix this, you need to feel this. If our emotions are trying to tell us something, it's just like when our body's alarms go off when you have something going on, like you twist your ankle, the pain tells you I'm twisted, there's something wrong, maybe it's a broken bone, there's something, you go get it checked, you're supposed to get it taken care of. You don't just ignore the feeling of the pain, you try to get it taken care of, you rest it, whatever it is you do. Well, it's the same thing with our emotions. We're supposed to feel them and go through that and kind of deal with it in the most healthy way, which I don't. So I continue trying to hide them during conscious moments, during every aspect of my life. I hide them. I'm fine. I'm always fine. Everything's always fine. I'm never, I don't, I don't need anything from anyone, right? I can do this all myself. Um, I don't want to feel, hold on just a minute. I have to straighten out my leg. Gosh, my hip's starting to bother me too. That's another injection I have to get soon. So it's really hard for me to deal with. So like there's times that I will ignore my dreams. Sometimes I write them down. Sometimes there have been times where they actually are a warning of something like more immediate, and I find out later after I've prayed about something or whatever that it was actually something that was going to happen, or needed attention of some sort. But those ones are usually because of someone else on my cover. They're not something directly for me. There's a call coming in, so I will be right back. All right, I'm back. My dad was just calling, so I going to get back to, let's see where I was at. Well, the next part, that is the control, right? So this is what I wrote down. This really affected me, and I know I've talked about this at least once or twice before, and it didn't affect me. It wasn't like a bad thing. It may sound like a bad thing when it's said to you, or when, someone says these things about you, but in the context that it was said and in everything that was going on, it made so much sense. So, a while back, me and my sister were talking about emotions and just kind of the way we are and the way I am and all the stuff, right? And she said something like, stop being such a control freak, because I want to control my emotions. I want to control everything, all the whole thing, right? Well, I was like, I'm not a control freak. I don't do that, right? Mm-hmm, sure. But I do, right? And I guess I didn't see that though. She saw that somehow, and maybe she's noticed it. Maybe it's just something that she saw because of something I said that day. I don't know, but she saw it, and she said that, right? And I thought to myself, is this really true? Am I really a control freak? Because I kept thinking to myself, I don't want to control people. I don't want to make anybody do anything that I want to do. I didn't want to do any of that. But I did want to control how people felt in a certain situation. Like, I wanted to make sure everybody was fine and they're happy and they're not sad and they're not dealing with anything bad. And I didn't want them to have to feel the emotion. I wanted to fix it. I wanted them to be happy and all, everything fine, right? And I wrote down when she said this, and I thought about it, it stopped me in my tracks. It was like a light bulb went off and things started to come into perspective. And I said, it's funny how just a little light can bring things into focus that we would rather leave in the dark. And that's so true for my faith. It's like I've never had a moment or a time in my life where I didn't believe that, that God is real, that I needed my Savior, Jesus Christ, that I believed in the Bible was true. I never had a point that I didn't believe, right? But, it talks a lot about the light, right? And being a light, and how Yeshua, Jesus, is the light of the world. And I think, like, and I watched this thing one day that talked about darkness, and, like, that, darkness is just the lack of light. It's just the absence of light. And all you need is a little pinprick of light, and there's no dark. It pierces through the darkness, right? Well, when I try to control things and I conceal things, right, they're in the dark. I'm coping with this. I'm concealing this. I'm trying to keep them in the dark. I'm trying to keep them all tightly, put in there. But then there comes a spotlight. It's like God's trying to get my attention. He's like, Christy, listen. You've got to do this. You've got to listen. You've got to feel this. You can't continue holding everything in, because look what's happening to you. Your health is getting worse. You're dealing with all these things in your body that were probably in a lot of what I've, just in my own little like research, because I want to know everything, right? Stress is a trigger. Well, what's happening when we conceal things, when we hold things in, we're stressing out. At least that's true for me. And I'm staying unaware of whatever I'm feeling, what I'm doing, because it's so automatic, right? So the next thing I shared here was something I learned in therapy. Granted, I think this is something that I knew. Many people have told me this. Maybe not in those exact words, but just I knew this, but it never clicked until more recently. So I've learned in therapy that awareness is the first step. That is where we find the ability to heal and make changes for our betterment. I continue doing the drop it at the foot of the cross and then pick it back up again with every moment of awareness. Because I'm aware, right? I'm like, oh, this is it. I've got to do this. I have this emotion. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to surrender this to the Lord. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to leave it here. And then I'm like, no, just kidding. I want to fix it. It's that kind of thing. And, because the reason why I do this is because it feels hard. Well, it is hard. And instead of facing it head on, I shy away from the hard and jump back into coping and concealing mode. That makes me feel like I'm in control of what is happening. But it's a lie. Plain and simple, I am lying to myself. I know it now, but I don't always realize it when it is happening. Being a lifelong follower of the 3 C's has made me somewhat of an expert. And the automatic use of either one or all 3 at any given moment without giving it a thought, expert level, it just happens, right? By the time reality sets in, time has passed, and now, how do I go back and face that emotion? It's too late. I don't want to go back and deal with it. How do I walk through the grief? It's too late. I should be over it. I should be on to the next thing, right? How do I hug those whose days... let me read that again. How do I hug those who days ago shed tears in front of me while I try to fix it through words or change of subject? Because the uncomfortable nature of facing the emotion would either freeze me in place, or the floodgates would open and I may be swept away in it all, or drown under it. So I try to let's talk about this, or I don't know how to do it. And how do I go back now and say, You remember when we were talking a couple weeks ago and you were saying you were having a hard day and you were, the emotions, these are, tears kind of come to the surface, and I changed the subject. Well, can I give you a hug now? Can I like feel this with you now? Can I give you space to feel this while I sit here with you? How do I do that? How do I go back? And I can't go back. I can go forward and feel the emotions. I can go forward and, and allow others to feel the emotions, but I don't know how. I don't know. It's like there's this something in my mind. I need to know how to do it. I need to be able to do it perfectly, correctly, right away. Then I want to. Can't do that with emotion. Can't do that with this, right? Thus, will never be perfect. But I'm somehow still striving for that in a lot of ways. I need to let go of the reins. Stop trying to pry them out of God's most capable hands and let go. Over the last 2 years, I have come to the realization that my need to control my emotions, and in some form, the emotion of others, I'm always wanting. Oh, let's see. I've come to the realization that my need to control my emotions, and in some form, the emotion of others. And I'm always wanting to make sure everyone is okay and happy, even if it is at my own expense. Even when they don't need me to fix things or do things for them, I jump in and do it anyway. Apart from that, I seem to have no purpose. Apart from helping someone, worrying about something, doing something for someone else, taking care of things outside of myself, I'm lost. I fall into a deep hole of depression because I'm so scared to face myself. I'm scared that the hurt I have held onto has broken me beyond repair. So I keep getting up and pretending all is fine, even when the alarms are blaring, reminding me that nothing is fine. In fact, things are getting worse. When the adrenaline rush of an immediate threat, need, or situation works itself out somehow, and things begin to calm down and go back to normal, or some new form of normal, I deflate. I feel like I should drop on the ground as if I'm having a fainting spell. And when that exhaustion just takes over and you just can't move anymore, and you have to just let yourself fall into rest. Find that soft place to land and fill your cup again. That place terrifies me. I refuse to go there because that means quiet. It means time alone with myself. It means it means getting to know myself, my dreams, my needs, my wants. And I don't know how to do that. I have always made my life about someone else's needs and wants. I just trail behind, waiting to pick up the pieces, do the heavy lifting, carry the burdens and worries, and make sure that they get back on track. I give all I have so they can shine. I will take the hurt upon myself if it makes them feel better to unload it. Somewhere along the line, maybe I began to believe that I wasn't meant to live a happy, joy-filled, peaceful life. If that meant someone dear to me needed me to be their burden bearer. But I'm not the burden bearer. I was never meant to be that for anyone, not even for myself. Yeshua, Jesus, is our burden bearer, our Savior. Why do I feel the need to save everyone? I don't want to be rewarded for it or even acknowledged. As a matter of fact, I really don't. I hate that. That also terrifies me. I think your compliment may send me over the edge because I don't deserve that compliment. I am a true tangled mess of emotion. And that was my entry for yesterday. And I think about it, I'm like, this is a true one. But see, I've talked about some of this stuff before. I may have even talked about it here on the channel at one point or another, or something similar to it. I know I've written about it. I know I've kind of talked to some people that I've trusted over the years about it. The problem is when I talk about it from a disconnected perspective. So I'm talking about it as if I'm trying to teach somebody about it. I'm trying to just share this experience, but kind of like disconnect from it. I'm disassociating from it. This isn't really mine, even though I know it is, but somehow I just disconnect the head of knowledge from the heart. I disconnect the knowing of it from the emotion of it. And I don't want to feel it. I just want to, maybe if I talk about it enough, it'll just go away and I won't have to feel it. And it's not a good place to be, right? It's not a good place to sit and dwell, because it's never going to change that way. It's never going to get better if I just continue having the head knowledge and all the information and all the ways that I could do this, and this is how we can overcome this. This is how we do this, but I'm not allowing it to happen because I'm not feeling it. So like when I go before the Lord and I pray and I ask him to take this heaviness from me, I ask for healing, I ask for whatever for myself, and I drop it at the foot of the cross, right? It's almost like I don't connect that I dropped it. I know I did. I know I said that I did. I know that was the idea, that I was going to leave it there. But then because I didn't feel it, I didn't feel the release. I didn't feel that emotion that comes along with it. Because sometimes when we do surrender those things that are so deeply held within us, we do need a time of grieving. It is, we're giving something, giving something up, even if it's a hard thing. But sometimes those hard things that we've never allowed ourselves to process or feel or let go of, like forgive, or grieve the loss of that thing. Because sometimes, depending on what's happened to us in our lives, some of those hardest, heaviest things that we carry are losses of the life we knew before this situation happened, depending on how it happened. I mean, people who have gone through different traumas, people who have gone through abuse, people who have gone through different things like that. Well, when you get to the other side of that, you have to go through this period of grieving this thing that was taken from you, or that you chose to give away, that you shouldn't have. And you take the time to feel all the feelings, feel that, grieve that, and then you can heal. It doesn't mean that it goes away. It doesn't mean that you're going to stop missing the you before the trauma happened. It's just like with people who we've lost, like with my mom. I'm never going to stop grieving her loss. I'm never going to stop missing her. I'm never going to stop hoping against hope that I could just see her again. But if I allow myself to grieve the loss, truly grieve the loss, you get to the point where you can look at the memories and you can see that there's this part of you that she still lives in. So even that, like, as our lives, the changes that we go through, whether it's like, getting older, people who have children, who their children move out and go to college or move on their own, the loss of jobs, health, all those kinds of things. I think there is a grieving process. And, I know people who will cry over some of these things. They let themselves feel the loss of not being able to do all the things that they used to do, because now they have this thorn in their side. That's something, whatever it is, that is holding them back from being exactly how they were before. But because they're able to cry about it, they're able to let it go, they're able to process the feelings and feel everything, even if it takes some time, but they do it and they give it to the Lord and they allow him to hold them, to carry them through, to guide them through. They come out on the other side with the ability to live this next season of life in joy, in peace. And when the next hardship comes, they can face it head on again. And that's things that I lack. Like I'm good in a crisis for other people. I'm good for all of that stuff. But when it comes to me, I ignore everything. Like there's times that I'll sit here. I've done videos where this has happened and I don't say anything. And I just sit here and continue talking where it feels like I'm going to pass out. I get so dizzy. My head starts swimming and I just feel like I'm going to throw up. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to, something bad's happening. My blood pressure has been kind of high lately and I've noticed that my head just starts feeling really weird. I've had like a lot of those things going on and I just continue going through. I'm like, no. If I just ignore it, it'll go away. But see, that was yesterday when my blood pressure was high and I was feeling that and I ignored it. This morning when I got up, I had the same headache, the same feeling. If not, it seemed a little worse this morning because I was ignoring it. I wasn't resting. And it wasn't so much that I was out doing a bunch of different things. It was more that I wasn't just letting myself feel what my body was feeling and listening to it and saying, okay, if you need to sit here, not write anything, don't read, don't watch anything, put on some quiet music if you have to and just lay there and sit there and let it go. No, I need to continue doing this because I have studies that I'm doing. I want to journal because I'm supposed to journal every day, right? I'm supposed to do my morning pages every day. I'm supposed to do this. And I'm just like doing even the fun things, even the things that I enjoy doing at the expense of my health. I need to listen and I need to stop using the coping mechanism, stop concealing things, stop trying to control everything. There are times that we need those things. There are times that in a moment of something going on, an emergency or something, we need to have a clear head. So we need to be able to like distance ourselves from something for a moment, get whatever needs to get done. Then we're supposed to be able to feel that and go through it, right? Well, this is where I'm at. I'm at the point where I'm learning that and I'm sharing that here. And I'm hoping that in all these babbles and chats and, over coffee or water or tea or whatever it is that's going on, that somehow not only will I be able to process these things and learn how to take care of myself and love myself, but in that you can be encouraged and you can find that same thing if you're lacking it, or if you have been there, you've been through some similar things and you've on the other side of some of these things, that you'll be able to share your story and that your story can help me to see how I can do it too. How that I'm not alone and you're not alone. We have each other, even if we're thousands of miles apart. I mean, I know like some of the people I've gotten closest to through YouTube, through online Bible studies, things like that, live hundreds of miles away from me. There's a couple that live in another country, some in Canada, some in the UK. It's like it's amazing and wonderful that we can connect. And I just, I'm grateful. I praise the Lord every day for that. And it's wonderful. And I hope that in this type of connection that we can do, that we can encourage each other, help each other, keep each other accountable, and lift each other up in prayer daily. And that we can, first off, for each of us, go to the Lord first. Go to Him first. Go to His Word. Go to Him in prayer. Those are the most important things that we can do for ourselves when we're facing the hardships, when we're facing illness, when we're facing anything hard. He's first. I've tried it on my own. And like I said before, I've been a Christian all my life. I never had a moment I didn't believe. I've had moments where I've walked away, not that I didn't believe, I just walked away and tried things on my own in my own power and it never worked. Some things that I'm not proud of, that I got involved in, that were, that I should never have gotten involved in. They've taught me lessons, yes. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that the Holy Spirit convicted me and that I was able to listen and go right back to where I should have been, to the Lord. But it's hard when we don't have that connection with Him, when we don't have that hope, because that's the only place we can find that hope and that connection. So, I want everything I do to reflect that, everything I do to glorify Him. And in the process, I want just to to connect with people, to share the love that he has shown us and has told us to love others, with the same kind of love. And we don't have to condone the things that we don't agree with, because when the thing is, we all do something that's wrong. We all sin and fall short of the glory of the Lord, and we need to know that, and we need to be aware of that, and we need to not try to brush that under the rug. But we have to love people no matter where they're at. We need to love them. And I think that's the thing I'm trying to learn is how to love myself like I love others, how to give myself the time that I give others. How do I fill my cup? How do I give myself rest when I'll allow someone else to rest and do things for them? And I'm at the point right now where all the alarms have gone off. With everything going on, with my health, it's scary. It's kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen. I know we're not promised tomorrow. None of us is making it out of here alive. There's eternity on the other side, and that's where my hope is. But it's still scary. It's scary to be sick. It's scary to be in pain every day. It's scary to get dizzy and feel like you're going to pass out while you're doing a video. It's scary. And I know that no matter what I'm going through, I know that God is there with me. And I know that he loves me. And I know that I can go to him first. And I know that when I need answers, he's where I can find them. So all of these things that I'm going through as I'm writing this and sharing this with you, these were prayers that I asked for answers. I asked him for the answers. I asked him to show me. There's a lot of times that I just cut it off and I said, no, I don't want to. I'm just kidding. I don't want to see it anymore. Don't show it to me. And I distanced myself from the answers because I didn't want to hear it, because I didn't want to do the work, because the work is hard. But now it's time to do the hard work. It's time. It's next month. I'll be 47. And, thinking about that, it's like, that many years have passed in my life. And for the last 10 years, I've been dealing with worsening health. And I want to be able to do things, to be able to ride a bike again. I want to be able to go on a hike. I want to be able to do things with my husband, like learn how to skateboard. I want to be able to feel okay enough that I can go shopping and not come home and feel like I got run over by a Mack truck. I want to be able to go into a store alone and not have a panic attack. I want to be able to just, go on walks with our dog and just enjoy the time with people around me. I want to be able to connect with the people around me for real and not freak out every time someone wants to connect with me, like give me a gift or compliment me on something or say thank you or give me a hug. It's like it freaks me out so much that it like irritates me, because I don't deserve that. You deserve that. It's okay. I'll give it to you, but don't give it to me. It's a really, it's the enemy's lies that I've allowed myself to believe, because Satan just comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And one way that he does it is through temptation, right? We know, we've seen the stories. We've seen how he was tempting Yeshua and Jesus on, with all these elaborate things. And he does the same to us. And we have our own issues. We make a lot of choices that put us in positions that we shouldn't be in. And it's just a little whisper of a lie, just a little whisper of you're not, he doesn't really love you. God doesn't really love you. God's too busy for you. And that was my thing. he's too busy for you. You're not important enough. You can go to him for other people, but don't go to him for you. Don't bother him with that stuff. He's too busy. And it's like, in like the last video, I was talking about this, the last one or a couple before, how, all right, sorry about that. My phone got full, cut me off, but I was just saying that he's everywhere all at once. He can be there for me and for you and for everyone else all at the same time. That's what he wants. He wants us to go to him first. He wants to have a conversation with us. He wants to have a relationship with us. He wants us to love him fully above all things. He wants us to love ourselves. He wants us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. So if we don't love ourselves, how can we love our neighbor truly? That's a question I've been trying to work through in my own life and make sure that I'm loving people correctly. Because I, like I've said before, I love to give. I love to make people feel good. My biggest issue is that I go over